Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Matt here, today doing a video covering the Vudoo build that I've been using this season. I haven't done much rimfire match content this season yet because, as I mentioned in my previous video, my wife is concentrating on her shooting performance, which means she's not doing any of the videography. So we haven't done any like PRS rimfire matches for videos this season, but that will change. I do plan to shoot video for the one on this weekend on Sunday. So I was just looking over this rifle, making sure it was ready for that match, and I had another message come into my inbox asking if I was going to go over the rifle. So I figured I might as well do it finally. This rifle, even though I haven't done much rimfire match content, wasn't really a secret because I had done some challenge videos with it and I've been posting about it on Instagram. I still try and post there even if I'm not doing a YouTube video. So it has, I think, piqued some people's curiosity as to why I got a new Vudoo this season. So I figured I'd just go over the entire build here and just let you guys see it up close. So going on to the Vudoo I was shooting last season, I was shooting a 16 twist Shillin that was barreled up by Kenny at Desert Precision Gunworks. This one is another Desert Precision Gunworks build by Kenny, but the biggest difference is the barrel is a 14 twist. So I was talking to him already about faster twist barrels like 14 and 12 twist barrels even before I ordered the Shillin, and my curiosity was still eating away at me because I got that 16 twist Shillin, which was phenomenal. I absolutely love that Vudoo, but I still wanted to try a faster twist barrel. So over the winter, I was talking to Kenny and we settled on this. So what is this? This is a Douglas barrel, 1 14-inch twist. I really like the barrel length on the Shillin, so I stuck with it. This is 25 inches like the Shillin for this Douglas barrel, and Kenny also cut me the same chamber spec, which was a JGS custom, into this barrel as well, so we could sort of try and control as much as we could to make them the same. Obviously, you're still not comparing apples to apples because it's different rifling. This is a Douglas. The other one was a 4-groove ratchet rifling Shillin. But this is the closest we could get. Originally, it was actually supposed to just be a barrel order because he blueprinted my Shillin tenon, so I can just order barrels for that action. But he was like, Matt, if you want to shoot them side by side for testing, you got to put it on a new action. So that's why it's on another Vudoo action and in itself became a full rifle build. But I'm not complaining about that. Maybe my wife does sometimes, but I don't. So anyway, so new rifle build here, even though it was just sort of supposed to be a barrel. I do plan to do a more in-depth video in the future about my findings between the 14 twist and the 16 twist, but I'll tell you right off the bat that if I were to recommend one to a PRS style competitor, I would just say get the 16 twist and be done with it. The reason for that is they're both really good barrels out at distance. Like, this thing hammers just like the Shillin out past 250 yards and stuff. But what I really found about the 14 twist was it's a lot more lot picky. So lot to lot, it may like it more or less. The Shillin shot everything good or great. This thing, you can find some lots where it's not too happy with. It's posting, 0.6, even sometimes like a 0.7 at 50, which is pretty bad. But the lots it really does like, it shoots just as well as the Shillin. So I don't think you're losing anything going from 14 or 16 twist, but the 16 twist to me seems like it's a lot less finicky with what lot to choose. Again, it was the same chamber, same length. I can't attribute it purely to the twist rate difference because there's a lot of factors that can play into this. That's just the difference that I noticed between the Shillin and this Douglas here. So again, more detailed video of my findings to come later, but that's sort of the whole thing in a nutshell. Let's go on to the rest of the build here because a lot of it has changed from the Shillin Vudoo that I was shooting last year. Starting off with the most obvious thing is probably the chassis. This is now an MDT ACC Elite. I had another ACC Elite, I still have it, that I purchased last year, but my center fire is sitting in that one. So I purchased another one here for the new Vudoo. So my center fire and my rim fire mimic each other really well. I have the same optic and the same chassis on them, so it's really easy to switch back and forth. You can see this one has been beautifully Cerakoted by Dimitri at Spec Ops Coatings. I gave him sort of the color palette that I wanted, and I told him I wanted sort of like a camo pattern, and he completely knocked it out of the park. This thing looks phenomenal in my opinion. The 4 colors was burnt bronze, gold, sniper gray, and I can't remember what black we decided on, but some black. I don't think it really matters. This is what he made, and I think it looks really nice. So that was the Cerakote job on the ACC Elite here. You can see I have 3 of the control bridges at the front end on this section here. There's 3. Totally unnecessary because I don't even put my thumb on the forend, to be honest. So these add 0 control for me because I prefer the thumb rest. But I just, to be honest, really like the look of an enclosed forend. So that's the reason why I did that. I forgot about the trigger. The trigger here is another TriggerTech Diamond single stage. It's a flat trigger. If you actually see some of the footage or pictures from earlier in the season, I was running a curved trigger, but after running that for a few matches, I come to realize I definitely like the flat trigger better, so I threw a flat trigger in there. And since we're already on the bottom here, on the bottom part here, you can see I'm running a Grey Ops bag stop. If I pull it away from the tripod, you can see it a little bit easier there. So this bag stop is just to help protect the magazine from being pushed in by a barricade bag. I was having a few issues of the magazine rocking in the magwell, so I threw this on the chassis and it's been completely fine since. This is the short version and it works really well. So if you get your magazines tuned and there's not much movement in it, you might not need it, but I think for a rimfire setup it's pretty beneficial to have one just for peace of mind. And that's basically it for that. What else? On the chassis, on my strong side, obviously I have the big honkin' thumb rest, which is, you know, in this M-lock slot. But on the other side of the chassis, I have my shot timer, or pardon me, not shot timer, just a sport timer. It's by Sport Count. It's mounted on the XLR mount, again, in that M-lock slot that the thumb rest goes in. And I really like it here because if I come to the other side, you can see I can grip the chassis so that my thumb is right here, ready to start the counter. Obviously, when I'm on the start line, the rifle's vertical. So as soon as I hear the buzzer go, well, I have to turn it on first, but as soon as I hear the buzzer go, I can start my timer and it's right there in front of my face so I can reference it during my stage. So I really like that. On my KRG C4, I had the same timer mounted on the magwell, but that means I had to start it with my support side hand. So I had to start stages a little bit awkwardly, but this one, strong side hand, right there on the grip, ready to go. So that works really nicely. You can also see on this side, since we're on the left side anyway, Dimitri also laser engraved my Wombat logo on the side there. So that was a nice little touch by him. And since we're still on this side, might as well show you some of the forend stuff I got going on. This big honkin' thumb shelf is called the Chicken Wing from No Sponsor. I really like this. I've actually put this on all my PRS rigs now, so my centerfire has it as well. And it's nice and large, and with the barricade bag, it gives you a lot of control. I have my OBI quick link system so I can hook up the rifle on my shoulder strap. Makes it really easy to use. And I think that's about it on this side. This cheek piece as well is also from No Sponsor. This is his slim version. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a lot skinnier than the one that comes standard on the ACC Elite. I didn't like the hard angles in the MDT version, so he made this nice, it's just the same width as the buttstock, so it's quite skinny, but I really like the profile a lot more, so I have this on my other ACC Elite for my centerfire as well. Speaking of No Sponsor, on the magazine here, I'm running a No Sponsor magazine extension. He makes these for Vudoo's in a +3 and a +5. This is a +3. You can see his logo there. This is not, I don't believe this is the up-to-date version because this was one of his prototypes, but I've been running the prototypes on the magazines this year and they work flawlessly. The only issue with the prototype is the sidewalls are a little bit thin. So if you drop these on concrete or a hard surface, it could crack and pop off, which obviously is not a good thing, but I've still been running them on all my matches. I think they've been perfectly fine. So that's from No Sponsor as well. What else? I think, well, I guess I can touch on this guy here. A lot of people ask me why I have a centerfire round on the side of my rimfire. Well, it's actually just my emergency extraction tool, just a flathead screwdriver. Same one I was running on the side of my C4. Knock on wood, I haven't had to use this with my Schillen build or my Douglas build yet, but I've seen enough people have tragedies when they have the worst malfunction, failure to extract at the worst possible time. So I always have this on my rimfire rifles for competition. Just again, peace of mind. I know it's right there if I ever need it, which I haven't had to yet. Besides that, I'll only mention the SkyPod because I recently rebuilt it. I've had the SkyPod for a couple years now, and it has seen some pretty hard use in some pretty terrible conditions. I recently rebuilt it with a parts kit from MDT, so I replaced all the like little pins, fasteners, and the springs. When I tore it apart, I noticed a lot of the springs were actually rusting because I do shoot quite, in quite terrible conditions sometimes. And after a couple years, the springs inside were starting to rust. So I replaced everything besides, the legs and stuff like that. But it has been rebuilt. I replaced the leg wraps because they were looking really mangled. But it has been sort of reborn, has some new life breathed into it and ready to go. This will be the first match this weekend. Shooting with it after I sort of rebuilt it. So that's the SkyPod. I really like it though. This is a great bipod for PRS competition use. Let's end with the optics setup. This is actually the same Gen 3 that was on my Vudoo last year. I acquired another Gen 3 that's on my centerfire. So again, same optics setup and same chassis. Makes it really easy to go back and forth. New mount though, the American Rifle Company M brace that was on the Vudoo last year is on my centerfire. This one here is a Grey Ops mount, Grey Ops CNC. I believe they just call this their one-piece precision mount, but I absolutely love it. I still like the M brace as well, but I have this thing for one-piece mounts. I really like to try different high-end one-piece mounts because I can really appreciate the machining and the design and stuff. So the Grey Ops one here is quite nice because it comes with pretty good accessories for it. You see I have this diving board mount up at the top. I had a red dot on here for a night match I shot in Tennessee, which worked really nicely for target acquisition, but I took it off just to sort of keep everything streamlined. But I left the diving board on there because it just looks cool. And then on the left side here, I really like how you can integrate the two levels. So I always have a bubble level on my scopes no matter what, because I don't trust batteries. But of course, my main level that I'm referencing when it's working is the Send It level here from MDT. They make a really nice bracket that integrates very nicely onto the Grey Ops mount here, and you can mount it up, down, and you can even change the height if you flip the mount around and stuff. But if you mount it like this here with their bubble level that goes on the top of the ring tops, you can see it sort of makes this really nice compact package. So if this thing dies halfway through a stage, which has happened before, I still have a level to reference just in case as redundancy. So again, I really like how that works here. You can see the level sits right above the knob here. The only downside here is if you go to replace the battery, you can't do it and you have to take the level off to do that. So just, I guess, keep that in mind. And then this little tab here is for my dope card holder. I think that's basically it. The white tape here I've mentioned before, but it's from Indoor Dry Fire Training System. This is what he calls their ballistic turret tape. So you can mark it up with wet erase markers or even a Sharpie for your quick, elevation solutions. And it also just gives you some nice contrast to more easily read in all sorts of conditions. But anyway, hopefully I answered some questions that you may have had on the build, and I just really wanted to put it through its paces again this season. So I haven't shot the Shillin this year yet, but you might actually see me flip-flopping between the two rifles as I feel like it through the season. But that's basically it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll do my best to answer them. If not, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Cheers.